Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and happy Pride. We are still here and we are still living in Pride Month. I hope everyone's having a great Pride so far. And today we are doing part 2 of another famous murder husband couple, which is Hannibal and Will from the TV show Hannibal, which I'm not sure how many people that are watching this are aware of Hannibal. I'm sure if you clicked on the video, you have some idea of it. But this is actually a couple that isn't technically canon, I guess. I don't know. If you watch it, it's a complicated relationship, okay? I don't even know how to describe it. It's freaking complicated, but the term murder husbands actually does come from this show originally, which I think is funny because it's not even from a canon couple. But I feel like if anyone has seen the show Hannibal, these two, or at least the ship, I feel like the show has definitely, I feel like more recently it's had more of like a, I don't know, I feel like a lot more people have been talking about it once again. I got into it about, like, I think I watched it for the first time like 2 or 3 years ago. And I feel like recently I've been seeing like it gets like more and more popular, I think, over time. And it's one of those shows I think that has really like flown under the radar, sadly. But I do think it's had like a resurgence of people getting into it. Because I feel like once you watch the show, it's hard not to get obsessed with it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me because it's literally like all the stuff I love. But if you haven't seen Hannibal, the TV show, I would highly recommend it. It is very good. But I will say, be cautious because it is a very dark show. It's not like a fun, happy. It's very. I mean, if you like Interview with a Vampire, I think you'd really like Hannibal, because that was my last video, if anyone's curious, where I talked about, and they have a lot of weird like similarities between them actually. But yeah, and so this is also me doing once again more digital art, which I once again have kind of a love-hate relationship with digital art. This one, working on it, I think this one took me, I'm not sure exactly how many hours it took me, but I think it took me about 2 or 3 days to do, with a lot of like breaks obviously in between, so that's why it took me so long. And this one, I will say, I have a weird relationship with this drawing. I'm not sure if I'm necessarily happy with it, to be honest. Part of me likes it and part of me is kind of like, I feel like there's certain aspects I like of it. I had a very hard time with this, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was struggling for most of this, and like while I was working on it, I kind of really hated it. I kind of wanted to give up multiple times, but I pushed through. You know, I got through it. I finished it. But at what cost? I don't know. My freaking insanity, because the freaking pose on this was freaking difficult. I was struggling really, really badly. Because this pose is just really, I wanted to, again, like with my last video that I did talking about these dark relationships that are very toxic, that for some reason I'm very gravitated for, and I don't want to talk about it because I don't know what that says about me mentally as a person, that I'm so gravitated towards these messed up relationships. That's not what this is about. Okay, we're not gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the fact that I just really wanted to show, though, like, again, the toxic, weird relationships that these two also have, because it's also like a weird obsessive pull that they have towards one another, where they can't seem to get away from each other. And I really wanted to like do this like seemingly lovingly hug. Lovingly, is that a word? I don't know. You know, this loving hug, but you know, there's a lot more dark undertones to it. And originally I was gonna actually have Hannibal's face cradling into Will's a little bit more, but I ended up kind of having him look straight ahead instead, like looking on happily, in this very like reserved way, which I actually like quite a bit. But yeah, no, like the pose I struggled with for a long time, and also freaking Will's face, I had a very hard time drawing. I just could not get his face right. I think it was also because of the angle that it was at, because it was sideways and laying down, but his face took me so many tries, and I was just like, the eyes too, I couldn't get right. Originally I wanted to have his eyes looking right into the, like, at the person, like the viewer. I was gonna say camera, I guess. I originally wanted him to look straight at the camera, but it wasn't turning out how I wanted to, so I ended up having him looking kind of more down. in a very reserved way, which I think I did capture though, like Will's like I don't know, sadness. I think I captured that fairly well. Because I wanted to capture like sadness, but also like a desperation onto holding onto Hannibal, which I do kind of wish with Will's hand that you do see. I kind of wish I had him gripping Hannibal's shirt more. I kind of wish I made that a little bit more visible. But it's fine. It is what it is. I didn't in the end, which it's okay. But yeah, just like the coloring too, and like the line art, which I talked about a little bit in my last video also about I'm finally getting into a place with digital art where I feel like I'm starting to understand it more and more, because originally whenever I would do digital art, I feel like it wouldn't look like my art, like my traditional stuff, and I don't really want my digital and my traditional to look, I don't know, I don't want them to look completely different. And for some reason, whenever I would work on digital pieces, I always felt like it looked like not my stuff. It looked too polished almost, if that makes sense. I don't know. And so I feel like I've finally gotten into a groove with my art digitally that I'm getting more happy with, but I still have a long ways to go because I feel like it just looks too flat. This one especially. I feel like my last one I was really happy with how the colors stand up, but for some reason with this one, I feel like the colors just turned out very flat, and I kind of wish I maybe added some more texture to it, or I don't know, maybe the shading. I think I did something with the shading that I'm not fully happy with, and I want to work on that more in the future with getting better, I don't know, what shading, I guess. I don't know. I had I have such a weird relationship with this drawing. I still don't even know how I feel about it. Like the whole time I was just like, it didn't really feel like my art, and I was just kind of upset with it, and it was very frustrating. And it's still, when I look at it, I'm like, ugh, I don't know. I do though, I think I am though happy though with how at least their faces turned out by themselves. I think they do look enough like the characters that I'm happy with, because my style is weird where I don't even know what my style is, because it's not like, I wouldn't call it semi-realism. I feel like it's too cartoony for that, but I do like the more realistic looking side of things. I don't like my stuff looking too cartoony. Not that I'm like completely against it, but this one I don't know. It turned out freaking weird. Also, I feel like I need to do a better job too with my layers, because my layers for this one especially were a freaking mess. They were all over the place and I wasn't keeping track, and I want to be better with that in the future. And my procrastination recently has been all over the place. I don't know if anyone else is dealing with procrastination too at the moment, but it's one of the biggest things that hurts me in my art. I would say it's like the biggest thing. Like I procrastinate so bad, and it's a constant battle that I'm having with myself when it comes to my art and like being productive with it and like wanting to do it. Like I want to draw, but it's like I can't get myself to freaking do it. It's so frustrating. I don't even know how to describe it. I feel like what I'm saying doesn't even make sense, but it's a continued battle that I have. And yeah, like here working with the hair, it just looked, I figured it out too. I think it looked like really, I don't know, too, like the texture again was just really weird to me. So I eventually decided to line it, which I usually don't do for hair. But lining the hair actually made it look a lot more, I don't know, it gave it more texture, I guess. It didn't make it look so fake, because I feel like originally the hair looked really, really fake, and it was throwing me off. So once I add like pencil into the drawing, I think it really ended up helping it in the end, which I'm very happy with. But yeah, and then also for the color palette for this one, I wanted to kind of match my last piece I made with Lestat and Louis, which I think I'm gonna try to link that video in the description, because I keep bringing it up. But I really wanted to try to keep the warmer tones again in this one, because I don't know, I gravitate towards the warmer tones, and I think it also ended up clashing really well with what I end up coming up with at the very end of this, which you'll see later on. But yeah, and I tried to really keep the color palette very similar, and I didn't want to have the colors be too jarring. And like here, like with that blue of his eyes, I end up darkening a lot because it was way too jarring with the rest of the drawing. I wanted everything to get darker, and yeah, I didn't even have I didn't even have anything be black in this because I wanted it to be very dark browns and very warm tones, because I've always just been more, I try to avoid using black as much as I can because I just prefer the warmer stuff, unless I'm doing like a literally like, I don't know, very drastic, very hard drawing where it requires very dark tones, which that's the only time I ever want to add that. And yeah, and I had to add Will's, like, I'm actually really happy with how Will's eyes turned out in this drawing. They look very dead, which is what I wanted. And then yeah, at the end, which I'm actually, see, this is when the drawing really did, like, makes me happy with it, because I really wanted to add, I ended up editing it quite a lot so that it was a lot darker. And also the red background I think also really makes it pop. And then I wanted to add the blood, of course, because that's like again, it's really like a hobby of mine now, to just splatter blood on people. I don't know, it really does, it adds a lot to a drawing in my opinion. Like, it literally does save this drawing, like the blood and like the eyes. I think it really, really does save it in my opinion, but that's just me. I'm actually quite happy too with the hands on this one. I think they turned out fairly well. But yeah, I am really happy, I think, though, with the end result. And I decided to make the opacity of the red, the blood on them, I made it very, very bright and very opaque because I wanted it to really, really like blend in with the background. So yeah, in the end though, I am really happy with this, and I hope that everyone else they like it. And I plan on having another video up for Pride next week also. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this. And I just want to say thank you everyone so much for watching this video. And I hope everyone continues to have a really great Pride Month. And I'll see you guys again next week. And bye.